All right, let's sit nice and tall towards the edge of our chair. And we're not going to spend much time still. You can always take a break, and I turned the heat up down here a bit ago because I'm in our basement. It gets a little cooler down here, but we got to keep moving. But if you need to take a break, you take it. Let's roll around on our hips. Roll around. So to the side and back and side and front. Notice how your spine moves and your head moves at an angle as you circle. And then let's take it the other way. I always like to feel that the belly is starting to warm up. You can start to feel it activate when you lean back. And then when you come forward, you might hear it just kind of go back down quiet again. But when we lean back, it has to turn on so it keeps us upright. Yeah, our core is always working, always working. And then, maybe when we're sleeping, it's not working. Yeah, when we're lying down, not unless we actively engage it. And let's come back to center. And now just rock side to side. You can let your arms go down and dangle down by your sides. Just kind of rock right to left. You might hear the chair creak. I'm hearing the chair creak. I guess I need to oil it like the Tin Man. And then as you go side to side, you might lift the opposite ankle. So if you're going to the right, you might lift the left. So your heel is rising up. Doesn't really matter if it's opposite. We could try the other way. So when you lean to the right, let's lift the right heel and ankle and then switch it up. Notice how that feels differently to switch it up. It's a little bit of a brain teaser, isn't it? Yep. It's a little bit of a brain teaser. And then come back to center. And let's do the opposite arm as we sway. So when we sway to the right, we'll lift the left arm. When we sway to the left, we'll lift the right arm. You can bring it forward, or if you want to start lifting it up, you can. Our shoulders aren't quite warmed up yet. So do what's best for your body. Breathing in. Start to bring some awareness to our breath. Bring some awareness there. And let's take the arms out to the side and kind of sway with the arms. And you can make them like they're little, just kind of streamers streaming out from your body like waves. You know those streamers you throw, the different colors at a party? So maybe your arms are like those. And if your arms or your shoulders get tired, then take a little break. And let's come back to center. Lift the shoulders up, take them back, down and around, forward, up, back, down, and around. Feel the sensation of this movement because it feels really good. A lot of us are super busy. It's year end. You've got your holiday parties, your shopping, your cooking. There's not a lot of free time to take care of you, but so glad that you're here today doing that. And let's reverse the circle. Making time for you is super duper important because you are important. You are important. So that's a hard one for us who are used to doing, especially making, our focus is outward on other things, but taking time for ourselves is super important this time of year. And always. All right, let's lift the right arm about like a goalpost. And then bring it in towards you and open it up and feel the arm bone as it moves. See if you can bring your awareness back to the back body and feel the shoulder blade moving. So as we move the arm back or to the side, you feel the shoulder blade come on the back. But when you bring it forward, the shoulder blade is actually moving off the back. And then let's extend the arm long. You can let it sway slightly back behind you and then forward and back behind you and forward and open it up and let's circle it and bring the arm in. There you go. Relax the shoulder down your back. Breathe in and breathe out and breathe in and breathe out. Feel that nice stretch. Good. And then release it down. And other side, lifting our left arm, bending the elbow, and bring it forward. And it might cross your midline and might not. Just kind of notice the range of motion. But most important, feel. Feel. You can feel that blade moving in and towards your spine. And you might even feel like it's moving into your back a little bit, like the angle. You can feel that bone coming in towards your fascia, your musculature. And then open up the arm and start to bring it forward and open it up and bring it forward. And eventually take your right hand and support the left arm as the arm crosses in front of you. And then notice if this left shoulder rises and just say, shoulder, relax down. And maybe you give it a little tap and say, it's okay, relax down. Because we don't know when we're tensing our shoulders. We don't know when we're tensing parts of our body. That's part of the thing. And one of the benefits to the yoga is bringing your awareness to what is stressing out in your body at this very moment. And then let's open up both arms back and then bring them forward and open it up like you guys are angel wings. Now the snow is starting to fall here in Michigan. So it was a very light snow. It wasn't very much. And so we're not quite ready for our snow angels. Plus it's super duper cold. And so we might not want to do the snow angels outside yet. But let's bend our elbows and pretend we're doing our snow angels lying down in the snow. So fingertips towards each other and then elbows towards the sides of your body. You might gaze up to your fingertips. You might not. Just one more. Take your arms out and lower them down. Lower them down. Let's do the, we haven't done the tongue exercise in a while. So we're going to take our tongue and take it around our mouth, inside, right? So it's going to look like this. And so you're going to go clockwise first. Yep, you get it. I see you guys. Let's do it like 10 times. But if your tongue gets tired, then stop. Take a break. So go clockwise 10, take a break, and then do the other way. Now you'll notice it's harder one way than the other, right? Because it just is. All right. So let's do that. And you might notice that you're making saliva. I don't know if you're counting. I got about 5 going here. And now I'm going to reverse it. So you too. I'm noticing how the jaw gets a little bit tired. It's a good thing to do. You know, our tongue is a very strong, important muscle in our body. And then we got to do our lion's breath because that goes along with the tongue thing. So they say it's good for halitosis. It's good for releasing tension in this area. So you're going to take an inhale in and you're going to look silly. So you got to do it with me. Don't make me be the only one looking silly here. We're going to take an inhale, and on our exhale, we're going to go. So you really stretch your tongue forward and down. Give that tongue a, you're making a half down as you take your tongue out. So you can have your hands on your thighs when you do this. Take a breath in and a breath out as you go. You guys are good at that. I can see you. You're very good at that. That was amazing. All right, let's take our legs forward. We got to juice up our ankles. Circle your ankles. Let your legs come forward and circle your ankles. Hold on to the chair, the sides of the chair with your hands. Try not to stress your shoulders out. If you need to bring the legs in a little closer to you, then please do. Please do. And let's reverse the circles. So reverse whichever way you were going with them. Right? Each way. And then let's point the toes, flex them back, and point and flex, and really feel the movement. And you might be feeling like the movement's not quite as fast as usual or is smooth because it's cold out and it takes a while to get the body your knees. I think that's a little bit nicer to bend the knees. You can do it with straight legs, but we're just going to swish like we were getting the snow off of our windshield. Of course, it really didn't snow today. It's actually, the sun is out right now, which is nice. So swishing, and then let's take our arms and just and we come back. Taking our left hand, breathe in and breathe out. I guess the recording is back on again. And here we are. Let's move back to center and circle our knees around. We got to get our hip joint opening up. So lift one leg. You can use your hands underneath your thigh. Some of you like to just kind of swirl it around without using your hands. So notice when you do that, how it changes the muscles that you're using. So you can kind of play around with using a hand or not giving your leg assistance. And then circle it the other way. Few times, but you could pretend that you're drawing circles in the snow. And then let's just put that leg down and say, okay, I've had enough of the snow right now. Let's move over towards the left side of the chair. And then you're going to take your right foot and bring it back. Now you're going to hold on to the seat. You always need to feel safe. If you could also take your other hand, your left hand, and hold on to the seat. And then maybe do little toe taps here. It's the top of the foot that's pushing down. I don't want you to cramp. So if you cramp, you might want to put a blanket down to just kind of do some tap, tap, taps. You can also tap, tap, tap in the center underneath the chair. Just don't bang yourself. Another way to do it is to turn sideways on the chair and do tap, taps that way. And then eventually you might let the knee rest down and feel a little stretch through the front of the thigh, the front of the body. And then we will step back forward and turn back around. And let's do some opening and closing of the knees. And maybe you crisscross applesauce with your arms as you open and we'll do the other side with those taps. We're going to first do our circles. So sitting tall, lifting our leg and circling the leg around and about, and then other way. Bring it around, really juice up that joint. Imagine that you're oiling, I don't know, like a really nice oil so that your body moves more fluidly. And then we'll bring the leg down and we're going to do some of those tap, tap, taps. So you can either move to the side of the chair and hold on to the chair, make little taps. You might put the blanket down, or you can move so that you're facing sideways on the chair and do it that way. Just little tap, 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 taps. And maybe get a little rhythm going there. You might drop the knee a little bit so that you start to get a stretch across the front of the thigh. And then bring it on back in. And we will move now toward, we might use our blanket here or a block. We're going to turn for our crescent pose. So this is where we're going to get a little bit more of a thigh stretch. So now we're facing the side of the chair. You can have a blanket or a block underneath your foot, and we're going to find crescent pose. Now, you could curl your toes under like that, or have the top of the foot down. So either way. So your heel might be up like that, or top of the foot is down. And then you might have your knee resting on the block like this. And you can hold on to the back of the chair. Now, you could also have the blanket instead of the block. I've kind of got both going here. So knee is resting on block and foot is on the blanket. Make yourselves comfortable. Then, and your hips are about even. They should be about even. Like, you should feel that not one hip is higher than the other. And you might have to make adjustments with putting blankets on the chair. Some of my really taller students have 2 or 3 blankets on the chair so that it's high enough for them. Because when the chair is too low for someone really tall, it's hard to have straight spine. It just isn't supportive. And then you can have your right hand on the chair and maybe your left arm lifts up. And we're in our crescent pose. And where the stretch is across the front of the thigh. And let's breathe here. So breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Your hand can also be at your hip or down by your side. There's not a golden rule on this. It feels good sometimes to lift the arm because you can get a nice side body stretch on both sides of the body. Take a few more breaths as you feel this stretch. And notice if your ribbies are coming forward, try to pull them back like cat pose almost. In fact, you can take your hands to your thigh and gaze into your belly. Now you see how the ribs are going back and the belly's going in. Keep that as you lift your shoulders up and back. It's tricky, I'll give you that. It is tricky. And we'll release and step the left foot, meet the right, and circle back to the front. We'll go to the other direction. The setup of a pose is just as important as the actual pose, maybe more so. And you can take your time to find your props, and the transition as we move is just as important as the actual destination, we say in yoga. The journey is just as important. Let's now take the other knee down. So this is my right knee. And so you can, again, top of the foot can be down or toes curled under. You may have preference for one over the other. The difference you may feel is when the toes are curled under, there's a little bit more muscular action going on in the leg. When the top of the foot is down, you might feel a little bit more of a stretch through the front of the ankle and the shin. They both have benefits. And then let's do that cat pose again. So round in and gaze towards your belly. Keep that pulling in of the ribs and the belly, and then lift the shoulders up and back. One hand is on the back of the chair or the seat of the chair, and then one arm might be up. Now, if you're feeling super balanced, you could lift both arms up. Maybe you bend the elbows a little bit, lifting the heart. Try to keep the ribs from jutting forward. Breathe in, breathe out. So you're pushing that chin down, and you can imagine that you're pushing the outside leg. So the right leg is down and pressing through the left foot towards the right. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice the stretch. You can always come out of it. And step that outside foot, the right foot back to meet the left, and we'll come back to center. So we started to stretch out the front of the legs. Let's stretch out the back of the legs and make sure we've got that going. So I'm going to use my cane here, but you could use a strap around your foot. Also, you might put a block or two down or books down, or if you got a sofa or another chair in front of you to put your leg on, that is nice. So like this, something like this, or whatever you got to put your leg on. If you don't have anything, it's okay. It's a different, the feeling of the stretch is different, and I encourage you to play with it and see how it is for you. So the heel is down, the toes are up, and we're sitting upright, and we breathe in and we breathe out. And our breath is in and our breath is out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, you can always lift that leg higher or not. And let's try turning it out. So turn the toes out, the knees going the same direction as those toes. You could draw a line from the center of your kneecap down towards your middle toes. And maybe you still got the strap around your foot. Our spine is tall. Our spine is tall. Same thing. We're taking inhale, and on our exhale, pull the belly in and the ribs back. And then imagine that your spine is extending long, long, long up towards the sky. Because you guys are royal beings. And you can always play with lifting the leg a little or resting it on something a little higher. And then you might take it out to the side and place the heel down like so. And so now we've got the right heel out to the side. You might adjust yourself on the chair. We're towards a triangle pose. So we're making it a triangle. I don't know if you can see that. So here's the triangle. Here's one of the triangles. 1, 2, 3. Spine is long. Let's make triangles with our arms. So if you can touch the back of your head or the top of your shoulders. If you touch the back of your head and your head goes forward like that, don't do it. And keep your arms like this, bent, or hands on shoulders, and let's tip down. So now the right elbow's going down towards the right thigh. Is it touching? Nope, it's not. Breathe in, breathe out, and inhale, rise up. And exhale, lower down. Right elbow's down, left elbow's angling upwards. You could extend your arms and spread your fingers. That's kind of nice. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to push down through the right heel and the left foot and rise up. Take your left hand down to the chair and lift your right arm skywards. That's it. Reach it high. And maybe take a little side bend now towards your left. And you might lift the left arm up. It's always a might, right? And then come back upright. And let's bend our elbows, both elbows, and start to lean forward. You're with a straight spine. So you're hinging from your hips. Hinging from your hips. Breathe in and breathe out. You might extend your arms long. You can even do a little pulse here. So now there's some weight going towards the front. Or you could have your hands down if that feels better to you. You could even roll your shoulders up and back and pull your elbows towards each other. And then we'll rise up and bend the right knee. Adjust your hips on the chair if need be. And let's bring the forearm to the thigh and circle the arm, the left arm a few times. And then perhaps overhead. Press down through the feet. Press down through the feet. Feel your big toe mounds. Feel all the mounds of your toes as they touch the earth. Maybe you lift this bottom arm. Maybe not. Release arms and walk or step that right foot to meet the left. And we will do the other side. So now we're going to stretch the left leg. You can use a strap or a cane or your hands, really. So I'm going to put the strap now just to show the difference. The feeling should be similar. But you can get a little bit of control with the strap because you can press it into your leg more. So we got the leg on top of a block or an ottoman or whatever's in front of you. And I'm crossing the strap, rolling the shoulders up and back. So the spine is just as important as stretching the leg. And then imagine that your spine is extending up, 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 up. You're growing space in your spinal discs, in between your spinal discs. Imagine all that space you're creating and you're getting taller and taller and taller. And then maybe you turn the toes out on the left side and then the stretch changes up behind your leg. Keep breathing in and breathing out, noticing what you're feeling. And then let's open up the leg and take it out to the side. Feel that stretch. Maybe you need to adjust yourself so that the side of the chair isn't pushing into your inner thigh. And we'll release. Open up the arms in a T. Pull the ribs back. Maybe take your hands to your shoulders, your hips, or behind your head. The earth, as we like to say in yoga. We don't use such words as ground. It's earth. But we do use the word grounded. I'm just making all this up, honestly. But we often talk like that. All right, because we're thinking organic, right? Organic. Then let's tip, go down towards, breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe in, you might feel the ribs expand side to side. As you breathe out, you feel that belly pulling in. You can always remind yourself what cat pose feels like and gaze down, and then open it up and open it up. Breathe in, breathe out. Maybe you stretch your arms wide and long. And We'll come back upright. Take the right hand to the chair, perhaps the left arm up. Grow tall again. So imagine in between each one of those vertebrae, you're making space, those spongy little discs. Then let's bend this left leg in. Adjust your seat again. Always be comfortable. Never feel like the chair is cutting you or you're going to fall off the chair. There's no purpose in that. And let's bring the forearm to the thigh and circle the right arm around and about. And about and around. Breathe in and breathe out. And maybe you lift the bottom arm. Ribs are back. You can always turn into that cat a little bit. Turn into your cat and then open it up. Push down through your feet. Rise up and circle that left leg to meet the right. And let's find our way to some standing poses. So move your stuff out of the way, except maybe keep a block nearby in case you want to do chair pose with the block. Or some of you use a strap. So here we are, block in between thigh. Maybe you have another chair in front of you. So when you play with rocking forward and back and you want to lift off, you've got chair there to hold on to for balance. Or you could face a wall or a kitchen counter, whatever's safe for you. So we're going to rock forward and back. And you can lean forward a little bit too. It's okay to lean forward. As you push down through your feet, think about exhaling and pulling your belly in and up, and maybe you rise up. Yes, I love holding the cane when we do that. I see one of you doing that. So here's how that looks. Yep, we got a few demos of this. You can hold a strap, fold it in half and hold it, or you might use the cane. Your feet go slightly back. They go back. Your weight's going to go towards your heel. You push down and you rise up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Push down, rise up. We push down, we rise, and maybe we lower back down. You can take a break. Let's somehow work up to holding for 30 seconds. I'm not saying today, by the way. Let's just think about it. Maybe set an intention that will increase the time that we stay up from what we did in 24 to 2025. Doesn't mean we're going to do it. We're just increasing it a little bit. We've got that intention going, but we're not measuring it in terms of a judgment. It's just putting it out there, and perhaps it'll manifest. So here we are. We're going to rock forward and back, and then we're going to push down through our feet, and we lift off, and maybe you hold it for 3 breaths. Maybe it's 3 breaths. Maybe it's 5 breaths. You can always lower back down and take a break and rise back up again. If you got the cane, you can have it right in front of you or the strap, or you can lift it a little bit. It's okay to have your spine lengthening forward. Notice where the weight is in your feet. Keep pushing down through your heels, but also the rest of your foot. You don't want to come just weight on heels, right? And then slowly lower down. That was awesome. Next time we do it, we'll come to standing. So you can do it with or without your block. With or without your block, with or without your cane. With or without the rocking, though I really love the rocking of forward and back. Lift on up. Breathe in, breathe out. Maybe you hold it for 5 breaths. Maybe you hold it for 1 more breath. Or maybe you say, you know what? I'm tired. I held it for a long time last time. This time is going to be shorter. Just be mindful. Feel the sensation of holding. Breathe in. Breathe out. And when you're ready, you're going to push down through your feet to stand on up. Woo. And maybe you built a little bit of heat from that. Let's find our way to our wall dog. Got to stretch out even more through the shoulders and spine. So hands can be on seated chair. or back of chair. You guys probably know by now which one is best for you. We walk our feet back. Maybe they're a little bit wider than hip distance. And then we're going to bend our knees as we lengthen our spine. So when we're bending our knees, we're not rounding the spine. We're hinging from the hip. So rather than this, we want a lengthening, just to show you, you don't do this without help or whatever, but you look at this. So instead of rounding forward, we take our spine forward, keeping it long. So the hinge is from the hip. All right, I'm going to move that out of the way. We don't need that. That was just a little demo you can play with. All right, so hands are in the chair, walking back, getting a nice stretch, maybe pulsing a little bit, bending and straightening the knees, angling the sit bones upward. If the sit bones are angling downward, then the spine is really not lengthening, it's rounding like that. So pressing the hips back. You can always bend your elbows. If your shoulders are tight, maybe you've got your forearms on the chair. Absolutely wonderful to do that. And then let's come on back up. Stand up and notice how your body feels now. Let's play with crescent standing. We played with crescent pose seated. So now, I'm just going to face the chair like this. And right foot's going to be forward and left leg's going to be back. Step it on back, hold on to the back of the chair. Now again, you could be holding on to the seat of the chair. And imagine that you're going to be wider than a balance beam with your feet. So your right foot's to the right a little bit, your left foot is to the left a little bit. You're taking a nice long stance for you. I heard a teacher yesterday say go wider than you feel. You can, and I generally like that idea, but I also want you to feel safe. So you have to use your internal guru. Here we are in our stance, and this is a long time to hold this. So let's transfer the weight now to the front foot and step the back leg to meet the front and feel that. And now we're going to take left legs forward and right legs back. And same thing now on the left side. Now you can have that back knee bent. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, you can pulse it and bend it and straighten it. And that's wonderful too. You're going to feel perhaps a stretch in the front of that back thigh. So for me, it's my right thigh. This is the thigh that's getting a stretch. This is the thigh that feels like it's super duper working. Take a breath in and a breath out. And step the back foot to meet the front. Notice, how does the body feel now? Let's stand in mountain and just take a moment to feel your body as it is in this moment. Feel or sense the feet touching the earth. Feel a little softness behind the legs, so our legs are not locking forward like that. Feel the weight in your feet. Notice if the weight's going all the way to the back heels or all the way to the front of the feet. See if you can find center. See if you can find center, maybe a little buoyancy, a little buoyancy. Shoulders are over hips. Ribs are stacking over hips. And ears out over shoulders. And then let's do the same pose again. Okay, so we still want to keep that alignment, even though our legs are moving. So everything's moving, but we still use those same kind of principles of where the weight is in the feet and the alignment. So let's go back to right leg is forward, left leg is back. This time, right knee's over ankle and heel like before. We might bend that back knee and straighten it. and bend it. We're keeping our spine tall. Bend it and straighten it. You could play with this idea of extending through a long spine. That gets into warrior 3. I'm going to show that with the chair seat facing us after we do this. Now, maybe you can decide, should this knee be bent or straight? Maybe you play with one arm going forward or upwards. Some of you are feeling super balanced today and you might take both arms up. Elbows can be bent. Hands can be on your shoulders. That would work too. Legs are working. That's what's working in this pose. Really working. Let's step the left leg to meet the front. And here we are. Here we are. Let's do the other side. So left leg's forward, right leg is back. Once you find your placement, you're still feeling your shoulders stacked over your hips. Knee is over ankle on that front leg. You might breathe in and out as you soften, lift, and straighten. It's kind of a nice feeling to get that stretch in. We're easing into it. And then you can stay right here and hold it for a breath or two. Take the ribs back. Feel a nice stretch through the front of the thigh. Maybe lifting one arm or both arms. You decide. You also could be holding the cane, by the way. There's so many options, honestly. There's just so many options. All right. And then step it back up. Before we go down to the earth, I want to show that warrior 3 where you can hang forward more. So you are weight bearing more into your hip. So it's going to be the same kind of pose. The back leg. Now you could have the heel down. That's always an option. It's more of a warrior 1, actually. And hands are on the seat of the chair. Our spine is lengthening forward, but not rounding. Now, your hands can be just like that, or they might even be on the back of the chair like that. This is kind of nice. So it's a little bit more weight bearing towards this front thigh. And that gets you into more of a warrior 3 pose. Now, some of you might want to transfer your weight with your hands on the seat of the chair and lift off like that. Or toes could be down, or you might lift up. This is a variation of warrior 3. Gazing forward and down. Bottom knee is soft. It's not locking back. You are putting weight on your front thigh. So leg can be down or up. Let's step that back leg to meet the front. Rise up. Warrior 3 is a little bit more intense, a little bit more balance action, but there's all those different options that we can play with. Now we've got left leg forward and right leg back. And same principles, long spine, weight is coming forward. We're hinging from the hip. So we're not rounding like that. We're lengthening the spine. So just to give you an idea, here's that cane again, just to show you. You don't need to do this. I'm just showing you what we want is a long spine. So here we are, like this. That's the long spine in a warrior 3 pose. I'm going to take that down. And so hands can be on their seat or the back of the chair. And you might play with your weight coming forward towards the back tippy toes or lifting the leg up. Always be safe. I really prefer that these chairs are against the wall. Then we know it's not going to move. And step that foot down and rise up. How's the body feel now? Let's do a nice standing side bend. So you can be at the back of the chair for your standing side bend. You might take your feet a little bit wider. You can hold on to the chair with one hand or both. So here's our side bend towards the right. You might take one hand down to your leg. You might take one hand up towards the sky or over your ear and head. Breathe in and breathe out for your side bend. Try to keep your hips from shifting forward. Keep them back. Keep them back, and here's with the cane if you wanted to do this. So it would be like this. That's the side bend. That's the side bend. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel the feet push down to the earth. And then let's press down, rise up, and find the other side. So pick your version. Pick your version for your side bend. You could be no arms, just kind of side bend. You could have hand on chair, one arm up overhead, or you could have both. Try to keep long through the spine. Even the side you're bending towards, we don't want to collapse on that side. Feel this nice stretch. Breathe in, feel expansion. Ribs are spreading. Breathe out, pulling belly in. Stand upright. And bring your feet back together. Let's find our way down to the earth. So you might put a blanket under your knees as you lower down. We'll find our way towards a table pose. So you all have different ways of getting down. This could be a way. You want to make sure you don't trip on any props, by the way. And then maybe you lower the back knee down, and then the other, or you stay upright. You stay upright. I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see clearly. We're going to do some cat-cows. So now we're doing cat-cows, and you could do cat-cows in the chair. So come on to where you need to be right now. If you're in table, your hands are just forward of your shoulders. Fingers are spreading. And maybe we do a few little tap, tap, taps of our feet. Make sure they are staying, circulation is going on this cold day. Here's our neutral table. Shoulder blades are on. Ribs are, and hips are moving back. Shoulders are moving forward. We got a nice long holiday table for all your guests. Then we'll go for cat. So that's gazing towards belly. And then we'll go for cow. Shoulder blades come together. Back and neck lifting. Exhale, round. And then reverse. And round. And reverse. And round it. And go back to your cow. So we round, we look at the belly. On our cat, our shoulder blades come together. The belly goes slightly down. All those Christmas cookies are hanging down. But really, there's a little bit of toning. And then let's rock forward and back. For child pose, your knees can go a little further apart than your hips. Oh, I see Oscar. Oscar usually comes down when we go down to the earth. I don't know what that is. He just kind of knows. And then we'll rock our hips forward and back and find your way towards a child pose. Now, your head doesn't have to go all the way down. And you know I love resting my head on a block. You could use it. You don't have to use anything, but find it nice. So something like this. And your hips may or may not go down all the way. Now, if you're in a chair, you can use 2 chairs to do this pose. Have a chair in front of you and take your arms forward. If you have tight shoulders, then you're going to bend your elbows. The block is optional. You might let your hips. Oscar, how's it going? How's your Friday the 13th going, Oscar? You always know when to come down, don't you? Yeah, Oscar, that is appropriate right now. Okay. Then we're going to come on up and we're going to go down onto our backs for a little bridge action. This time you're onto our backs. And you might bring a block or strap with you for what we're going to do. Hi, here, we're going to do bridge pose now, Oscar. All right, so here, our feet are outside our hips. Our arms are down by our side. Yes, Oscar. Okay, so now we're going to lift our hips up for the back bend and roll the shoulders underneath you a little bit. And your hips don't have to go very high. Oh my goodness, Oscar. So the hips are not jutting up. We don't want to thrust them up. You're walking shoulders underneath you. Back of the head is pressing down, but there is space in between your neck and the mat. Between your neck and the mat. So your arms can be long or like a robot. What feels good to you? You might feel a little toning in your hips. You could play with lifting one heel and then the other. You might take a little break and bring your hips on down. But keep the heart lifted. That's kind of a nice, this is still a back bend. Hips are down, but heart is up. And then maybe we push down and both hips lift up. And our heart is open. And maybe we lift both heels. Notice how that feels to lift both heels. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breath is in. And breath is out. Lower heels down. Lower hips down. Let's hug the right knee in towards us and extend the left leg. And you might flex that bottom leg. You're pushing the thigh, the back of the thigh down. And then switch it up. Now left knee is coming in, extending right leg. Flexing the right foot and ankle. And then bring both knees in towards you. And lower your feet down. Walk your feet wider, like about mat distance apart. And then have your arms go into a cactus, or you know what, we're going to do the snow angels, Oscar. So our elbows are bent, and we're going to play with bringing oh, thank you, Oscar, for walking all over me while I'm demoing, Oscar. So play with making snow angels with your arms, like we did when we were seated. So fingertips coming towards each other and then elbows coming down towards the side of the ribs. Little snow angels. And then lengthen your upper arms by the sides of your body. So side bodies are nice and long. You can walk your shoulders towards your ears. We're going to push our hips down and our feet down, and lift up once again. Get a nice back bend. You might feel your hips toning. And then lower down. If you do get any cramping behind thighs, and go down. About pickle juice this week, how that helps the cramps. I don't know if any of you have experience with that. I've used the magnesium oil. Seems to be nice. And then let's do number 4 pose. Cross the right ankle over the left. Hips are level, and you might pull the knees in towards you to get a little bit more of a stretch, only if needed. If not, you leave your foot down or somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. Where do you get a stretch in your outer hip, buttocks area? Very important that we keep our hips nice and open. Take several soft, cyclical, grounding breaths. In and out through the nose. And then switch sides. So now both, you can start with the right foot down and left ankle over thigh. Hips are level. Maybe lift knees towards you for a little bit more of a stretch. You can hold your hands behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Get a nice opening through the hips. Breathe in. Breathe out as you feel the sensation of hip opening. And so before Shavasana, we'll take a spinal twist. You can let your knees fall, lift up, and then fall towards your right. And of course, you can always stick a little something under your left shoulder or arm if it's feeling tight or too much of a pull on that side. Otherwise, you don't need anything. So it's really going to depend on how much of a pull you're feeling. Remain there for about anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds is nice, or maybe even longer. If you've got time to really nurture yourself, these twists are really important, especially with all the eating we're doing this time of year. All those sticky goodies. And then bring the knees in. Shift your hips to the right as your knees go to the left. Same thing, you might have something underneath your arm. If there's too much of a pull on the right side of the body, you could always have a little something like that. It can be very helpful. You might gaze the opposite way of the knees and close your eyes. Make sure, a lot of times we don't give the second side as much attention, so make sure it gets just as much attention. And then when you're ready, you're going to find your final pose. And your final pose might be legs on a chair, legs over a pillows or bolsters. Maybe you want to do a little lying down butterfly while you breathe for a little bit. You certainly can do this in bed. Find the final resting pose that allows you to relax and let go. Or maybe you're in constructive rest with your knees coming in together. Arms are either down by your side, walk your shoulders underneath you, or place your hands on your belly. Find your way to your resting pose. And use this as a time to focus on your breath. Feel the flow of the breath in and out through your nose. As you feel the belly move up and down. Hi, Oscar. Hi, honey. We're resting now, Oscar. We're resting. Yes, we are. We're resting. Everybody's letting go and relaxing. So take as long as you want to rest and let go. Notice if you're feeling any tension, any part of your body, and see if you can send your exhales in that direction. See if the exhales can help you soften in the areas there might be some holding. And stay as long as you want in your Shavasana, your resting pose on this Friday. I'll close the class with Oscar as we are in seated, but you stay and do exactly what your body's calling for now. I find our pets do like Shavasana, but Oscar's a little hyper at the moment. So we'll bring our palms in front of our hearts if you're seated. And we bow in with gratitude. for this day, for our time together, for our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and our playful pets. Not